Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream today and the start of the 2022-2023 championship meet. Apparently, Mother Nature did not get the memo today.
Bring it in here, buddy.
Yeah, we're not used to this down here in Florida. I know it's cold up north, but down here in Florida, we're not used to this. You know, we had rain all day, so the races have been taken off the turf, and they tried to keep the two stakes on the turf as long as they could, Brian, and it wasn't possible. So we don't have those scratches while doing the early show, if there is indeed any scratches when it moves to the Tapeta.
Yeah, we knew race 1 and 10 were off, and they tried to hold it together for the two stakes, which were so good, but it was really pouring this morning hard. So it is what it is. It's the weather of South Florida strikes again. So, you know, we'll have to get those scratches as we're kind of work in progress here. We'd like to think they're going to stick together, but we'll see.
Yeah, you didn't have too many scratches in the first race. Also, we got the Rainbow Six, which will be kicking off today with race number 5 with our 10-race card. And there's a $200,000 gross jackpot guarantee in the Rainbow Six. So, you know that it's off the turf, so you got no excuses to get that handicapping done.
Yeah, the pools are going to be big. We'll get to this big 5. We're not going to show tickets. My tickets are Sam's tickets, and she'll be up with us in a little bit because we're, like I said, a work in progress for the 5th and the 8th, the two stakes. We'll get back to that and see, and then we'll update those tickets.
With that said, let's go to the first race. So we're originally scheduled for the turf now to be run at about 1 mile and the 16th on the Tapeta. These are maiden special weight filly 2-year-olds. Scratch the 2 in here, the 9 and the number 13. Please note the jockey on the number 3, Sun B, is Edgar Prado. So Edgar Prado will ride that number 3. Brian, let's kick it off with your horse in here, and that is Zippadoo.
Yeah, I left all my picks the same. This was turf or Tapeta, and Zippadoo got a nice tightener on debut for Graham Motion. He's solid 23%, second out. Maidens brings the jockey down here. Jorge Ruiz rode this horse actually at Laurel. I like that. Daughter of Ghost Zapper, a homebred for the Wertheimer brothers with a nice pedigree here. And I would think, you know, Graham's got a couple in here. I'd like to think this horse is going to move forward second time out.
Well, the other one from Graham Motion is the number 3, Sun B, is the daughter of English Channel and a full sister to the horse that actually run the McKnight here, and that's Full Spooky, debuting here locally. So we're going to go back. I know this race is on the turf. We're going to show you. We're going to pick it up this race September 9th, just before the 8 pole, when she makes a move for the lead, and she finishes second that day. Of course, she's the number 7 there. I thought she ran a good race. So you go with one, Graham Motion or the other. I thought this horse ran exceptionally well. And the fact that Graham kept these horses in indicates to me that he thinks they can handle a surface wedge.
Yeah, I agree totally. I mean, a very, very patient conditioner, and obviously these horses coming down from the Mid-Atlantic, maybe this weather even works for them. And notice, too, both of these horses were working over the Fair Hill surface, which is an all-weather surface. So they have
That's a great point.
Familiarity with it.
Yeah, the number 8, Mademoiselle Jackie, who is currently the 2-to-1 favorites, debuts locally for trainer Christophe Clement, getting blinkers today, get the blinkers back. Interesting story with this horse. You know, they put the blinkers on this horse 2 starts back, ran very well. They took the blinkers off last time out, didn't run well. Going to the Tapeta with the shades back on.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine, and you have to use her if you're spreading a little bit, but she also doesn't have to win. You're going to take an underlaid price with Jose Ortiz riding, too. I do think you bring up a good point, though. There's no doubt that her race with the blinkers was her best effort.
Yeah, and you look at the number 5, whoever after that, Rose Day, if you go back, 3 starts, ran okay against maiden special weight runners right on the Tapeta.
Yeah, so that gives her a little bit of an edge here as kind of the house horse. At least she's proven over it.
Let's go to race number 2 this afternoon, and this one is going to be 6 furlongs on, I guess the track was listed as good, but it continued to rain. So Pete Aiello will update you with the track conditions when we get off the air here. Is this going to be 6 furlongs? Well, we know it's wet, put it that way. Claim is 3 and up, $8,000. We did have an early scratch of Joe DiBaggio in there. And Brian, you went with the number 7 in here, and that's Del Griffin.
Yeah, this is my long shot today. I was against Joe DiBaggio anyway. I was saddened to see him come out. We like to watch him run, but I thought he had some speed in this race too. But Del Griffith now is going to go for Edgar Baia, David Baracco, and Zilla Management. They popped at a big number earlier on in the Sunshine meet. This horse this is my long shot play of the day, by the way. The last time this horse was on dirt, Ronnie, you see the distractor. You got Granger County in there. The distractor would be 1 to 100 against this group. Now, Del Griffith didn't do any running that day. I understand that. But here's the drop now from a perfect outside attack post from call them crafty connections. So I would take a little shot in here with the price.
I went with the 3-horse in here, Royal Squeeze. It was a 5-time winner this year. It's back locally, shipped up to Tampa, and finished pressed the pace and fade fourth against those 12-5 optional claimers, going 7-8. This is a hard-knocking 10-year-old. He's spotted perfectly for the homecoming. He's run okay on the wet track. He's 6'4", 6'12" in the money on the wet track, and he's just one of my favorite horses. So I had him right on top all along. Did not have Joe DiBaggio on top.
Well, Gary Jackson trains Joe DiBaggio, too. So the fact that he's going to scratch him from down inside, he's going to run Royal Squeeze. You can kind of put that together for yourself. Probably likes Royal Squeeze today.
And you know, the number 4 horse, Commanding General, debuts locally after the consistent campaign up north in which he amassed that record of 14 starts, 4 wins, 3 seconds, 2/3. It's Kelly Breen. Junior Alvarado is going to be in the saddle today, I believe, in this race. Let's see, number 4. Yep, Junior Alvarado. So I thought these were 2, 3. I'm going to look at your long shot for sure now.
Yeah.
So I thought that the race went through the 3 and the 4.
It does, and Commanding General might move up even a little more because look at the race 2 back. Sloppy race with a big speed figure there at Monmouth.
Let's go to race number 3, and this one is a 6-furlong race here, and it's claimers, fillies 3 or 4 and up in here that have non-winners of the 3 races in life. And hey, Brian and I agree here with the number 3 Starship Nugget, who goes to the Cesar Figueroa bond.
We'll take a look at a stat. This is my best bet of the day, and we're going to show you. There's many reasons why, but this is one of them. 5 for 12, 42%. Off the claim with a big ROI the past year, the past 12 months. So Cesar Figueroa can move horses up. And now, obviously, Awesome Appeal and Look Up at Heaven beat this horse last time, this daughter of Kozan. So she's got to reverse it. But now in a potent new barn, Irad is going to ride. We've only got a length and a quarter to make up on those 2 as well. There's not a lot of true speed in here either. And I think that's going to benefit her a little bit better, too, because Irad can put her in the race. I think she's in a good spot today, Rob.
Yeah, I went with the inside horse in second, no decaf, who stepped up to the next level after drawing clear, defeated those 2 lifetime claimers, won that by a couple of lengths, that Ray Carlos Davis, Marco Meneses. Like the work, of course, that Carlos Davis does. So I threw this one on the ticket in there, and you got the number 4 horse, I believe, in second, and that is Look Up to Heaven, who have a little further down.
Yeah, I like her a little more than Awesome Appeal. I think she ran well last time. No, she was behind Awesome Appeal as well. Don't forget to, Ronnie mentioned Carlos David. Now, we start a new meet today, so everything's refreshed. Do a little due diligence, maybe go back the last month or 2, check out the stats. Carlos David has been white hot for an extended period of time.
And you make a great point, because he was cool early on, and then we were waiting for him to heat up, and he did not disappoint. He really got going, so you always got to check out those situations. Race number 4 today is going to be about 1.70 miles on the Topito Claimers. Fillies and mares 3 and up, $10,000 scratch to 4 domineering. And the number 8 horses where we'll start it off, She's So Pretty. But we're going to go back and show you this horse's performance on October 28th. We're going to pick it up from the 8-pole home when she fights back gamely in this race with the even money Sweet Pearl at day. But watch this horse. She's beat right now. You say, okay, she's beat. There's the even money favorite there. And watch her just fight back on the inside. And you could not call it when they crossed the wire. Now, she actually got the lead again for that brief second and goes right to ding-donging it right to the wire with the even money favorite that day. Thought that was a pretty good performance. MCL Jaramillo is going to ride for Sandino Hernandez.
Yeah, and she was well clear of third, too, so I kind of think it backs up that race. And that was her first race over the Topita, so there's no reason, Ron, why she can't move forward off of it.
You went with the number 5, Divine Exchange. This one from the Mark Paisley barn. Edgar Perez will be in the saddle.
Yeah, you look at the last 2 races on Topita since Mark claimed her, and they were against much better, and they were good efforts, too. And he ran her on turf last time. Okay, that didn't work out. But look at the starter optional claimer, 2 back, the 20s, 3 back that she won. I think she's in a good spot on a little bit of a class drop today.
The number 6, La Rusia, is making her first start. Now, she went up and set the pace against what we saw was a stark close bias on the Topita to finish second against 10 claimers for Eduardo Nunez, of course, a former jockey here, Ivan Pimentel Jr. in the saddle. I was enamored by that performance.
It was a good effort. You got to give it to her. She's also 3 for 35 with 13 seconds. So there's a reason why you have her underneath. She's not too fond of getting her picture taken out there.
And Serenade Kitten, you had some interest in, so did I, is dropping, returning to the Topita. Stepped up for Amador Sanchez. Not firing against those open claimers, going 8.5 on the turf. line through that one.
Yeah, she had a little trip last time, too. So as Ronnie said, it's not her surface, and she had a trip. She ran a little bit better than maybe a lot of people might think, and now she's back on the Tapeta. I think that's going to help her.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will pick up where we left off, and that is, we'll go ahead and talk about the Tropical Park Oaks. So we'll be right back.
This is a championship meet. All the best jockeys in the world are here, and I'm excited to ride against them.
We back.
And you get to watch some really incredible, talented athletes out there.
To us, it's a place to be in the winter.
I love Gulfstream Park because of the racing.
The palm trees, the beach is right here. The horse racing is some of the best in the country.
A lot of good horses come out of here. And if you want to go to the next level, Gulfstream Park was the place to come.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place. All the history. And all these great horses, trainers, jockeys. It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Brian. It is opening day of the 2023 championship meet, the Tropical Park Oaks, one of our two stakes races this afternoon. Will now be moving to about 1 mile and a 16th on the Tapeta for 3-year-old fillies. And we just got a scratch in of the 2 Frosted Oaks. Also earlier today, we had the scratch of the number 9 Diamond Wow. Frosted Oaks was my top pick this afternoon. I'm interested to see who you had on top of your ticket.
It feels like opening day of trout season. First, what is that, Wednesday in April. I had Frosted Oats, too. It's unfortunate that we lose her out of here. I feel like she's a name to remember. Maybe pop her in your stable mail. I thought the fact that she was in here, Ronnie, for Bill Mott off a layoff, facing winners for the first time.
I loved her today. That was my best bet.
I do. Okay. Says you maybe better look out. Just remember her name. We don't want to talk too much about. I scratch into surprisingly, and again, we're all work in progress here. This is the only scratch right now that we have, updated. Obviously, Diamond Wow comes out too, but I go into surprisingly. Arch on the bottom. She has a good. She's 2 for 3 on turf, so we'd like to think just maybe it'll translate over. Again, it's kind of a work in progress. I thought she ran better than it looked in the Virginia Oaks as well.
Yeah, she's trained by Shug McGee, so also is the number 10 personal best, where I scratched into debuting locally for Shug and turning back to the mile and 16, drew clear impressively, really impressively, the entry-level allowance runners. Now, that was going 11 furlongs. That was on a good turf. Beautifully bred daughter of Tappet. You're getting Arad Ortiz Jr. in the saddle this afternoon, I believe. So how could you not hear? Let's see. Yes, so Arad's going to ride. And the reason I'm looking at all the jocks is we don't know exactly, where people are going with the scratches. But so personal best, surprisingly, for all the reasons you mentioned. And like we said, a work in progress. Trying fun horse. And once again, Brian, if they keep these horses in, they must think they can handle it.
And just since we have a second, Omi Cheadle, the 3, is one of the ones that's going to move way up because we know she likes it here. Faso Gutierrez has done a good job with her. Jumeirah's down inside. She's got a little form as well. And I know it was a slow race, but my filly Twirl, who loves this turf course, not going to get a run on, but she's got to win up at Presque Isle Downs over their Tapeta. That was 2 back for Brendan Walsh. That was off a layoff, too, so don't sleep on her. She's going to be a factor here now, too.
Can you make a case that Omi Cheadle might be favored coming out of Stella Shiraz?
Yeah, I can still see them betting. You've got Shug, you got Phipps, you got Irad, horses like that. But, yeah, you could make a case because she likes it here.
Yeah, she really likes it. And she stakes placed on the Tapeta, and that's exactly what is happening today. So that is where the Rainbow Six will start. And like we said, we'll update our tickets. And when we come back throughout the afternoon, we'll have our tickets done again. And race number 6 this afternoon, we'll see how. Let me flip the page and go to race number 6 here. And this one is a 6-furlong maiden special weight for 2-year-olds. And Brian, you went with the number 4 horse in here, and that is Cozieres.
I thought you might come up with this horse. I know you like Terry Pompey and the job she does, and we'll show a stat here. because this has been a good angle for Terry for a pretty extended period of time, too. 6 for 36, that's 17%, a solid ROI. Dirt Sprint's first the past 5 years. And Kozeris is nice. The Dam was 2 for 5, took her 2 starts to break her maiden. This is a half to Eris Stray, who won here by the length of the stretch in mid-December, and it was only her second start, too. So Terry trains that one as well. So you look at these works here, Ronnie, they kind of whisper ready to me. I love seeing Lionel, a live rider, get aboard here. I think this horse can run a little bit. We want to check the tote board, obviously. And, the horses that we've seen in the afternoon are pretty good. So she's going to have his running shoes on.
The number 7 local barrier is where I went. This one goes to the Ronnie Stats barn after the claim debuts on the main track. After crossing the wire actually first, but getting disqualified and placed second. The new connections are going to tab Brad Ortiz Jr. to manage the surface switch this afternoon. And just one of my angles that I always like, a horse that's done something that no one else has done. You can't beat the connections. Ronnie Spat's a sharp trainer, knows when to go in and grab a horse. And then he adds a cherry on the top of the Brad Ortiz Jr.
Ronnie's 0 for 3 off the claim. That's not a negative. My point is Ronnie does not claim horses. So, unless, as this Ronnie said, he's a sharp guy. For him to dip in and grab this one for 35, said, you know what, he likes this horse immediately on the main track, immediately in a spot where he can't be claimed as a Florida bred. He gets to run without the tag, but they doesn't want to risk him anyway. He's a big threat in here. I was a little worried about an underlaid price, that's all.
The number 9 Power Humor will face these 50 maiden optional claimers after recovering sort of an awkward start to finish third. That was against those state-bred special weight runners, going 6 on the main track. Victor Barboza Jr., got Jose Ortiz atop the son of Jess's Dream. Jose came down a few weeks ago, and all the horses, if he's not one of them, they've run exceptionally well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Nice little pedigree here, too. The Dam was a daughter of champion Half Bridal. So there's a nice pedigree. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner. On the bottom in here, the debut says this horse can run a little bit, and here's Jose Ortiz. Wouldn't shock me, Ron, if this horse goes off favored.
Talking about people you respect, and one of them certainly is Ed Plesa Jr., and Mr. Rhodium is making his first start. I thought he ran okay. When he was 5th back on October 15th against maiden special weight, Eddie's really good with this type of layoff, with maidens, I should say, making their second start. 26%. He's got Edgar Zayas in the saddle this afternoon, and boy, 10-1 in a race that, we'll see how everybody runs in there, especially if the 4, take some money like your horse. Maybe get a price in the source. I would not leave this one off your ticket.
No, and we've seen it time and time again where Eddie's run a horse with talent on debut that needs a race. This horse was 17-1, so you can kind of figure that was a little tightener. Now, Edgar Zayas gets aboard. It could be go time today.
Let's go to race number 7 this afternoon, and this one about a mile in the 16th on the Tapeta. Starter optional claimers, fillies and mares 3 and up, started for 50 or less, or the optional tag of 50,000. No scratches in here, no jockey changes, and you went with the number 1 horse in here, and that is Built Different. So tell me about that.
We are all over the place.
I know.
I like it.
I was looking. I thought I was in the wrong race for a minute there.
It's Jose D'Angelo. We got a drop here. I know this horse hasn't run on Tapetas in 3 starts, but you took this horse up to New York, so obviously he felt she could compete up there over the summer. And that Tapeta race, 3 back here, Ronnie, that's what stands out to me. Republic is Rombauer's little sister, and she's okay for Safi Joseph Jr. That's a big figure. I think now from the inside with that right kind of stalking, closing style, I think Built Different is a big player. She scratched out of a race a couple weeks ago. Now she pops up here.
I really didn't know what to do with the number 6 groundwork, but I just got a feeling that this horse is going to run well. So I said, I'm going to take a chance. And this one is in for the $50,000 tag. It's a daughter of Speightstown. Debuting on the Tapeta after facing allowance competition. Had some success in those races before going to the bench in September. Chad Brown, he's 25% with horses going turf to Tapeta. And I just thought if those races, allowance races, on the grass, and he's good changing surface, this horse might run well.
No, I could see it. Tap the tote board on this horse, too. I made a Chad horse 6-1 the other day. Then they didn't bet at all. It was like 16-1. Didn't run at all either. So I think you got to pay attention to the odds, and that might lead you to the right way, because if I don't disagree with the 3-1 here, but if you look up and she's 7 or 8, you maybe take a little more patient approach.
the number 2 horse in here, Economic Hangover, I thought was going to take the lion's share of the betting action in here. And I want to go back and show you. She shipped in from, well, let's go back and show you this race on November 13th at Gulfstream. First, we're going to show you the start and into the first turn. And you're going to see her. She is the number 6, and she's just going to have to steady a few times in this race. And we just follow it in. You can see her in between horses there, and you see this numerous times. Just, trying to, Bob does a great job. You say steady once, steady twice, just never comfortable. And you could have kept going on. Here's another steady now, and just never really got comfortable early on. Then we're going to switch it after this. There's another steady, so that's 3 times. And then we're going to switch to the 3/16th pole when she rallies wide. Now, she's rallies wide to finish second to the favorite in here. So I thought she ran exceptionally well.
And if you're not familiar with Flying Black, she's all right. And she really, really likes the Tapeta. So, yeah, this was a good effort. I don't think there's any doubt she's the horse to beat, Ron, because, lay the groundwork's got obviously ace connections, but we don't really know if she can run on the Tapeta. Right. We don't have any worries about Economic Hangover for, Safi, Ken Ramsey, Jose Ortiz. She's the house horse here, and she's going to take a lot of beating.
Yeah, and that was just a great performance. And like I said, finished second to the 9-5 favorite. How about the number 5 horse in here, Sal's Dream Girl, debuting for a $50,000 tag on the Tapeta. Returned from the layoff, finished a closing third, going a mile and 16 on the turf for Danny Gargan. So I just thought maybe this horse with Isaac Castillo had a chance to run well in here. Danny wants to try this horse on the Tapeta today.
Well, and Danny we trust. If you're not familiar with him, he's a huge high percentage barn up in New York. He's won several races down here over the winters as well, and he will do so again this year.
And Judge Judith, not Judge Judy, I know you watch that show every day. You put on your ticket, Kathleen O'Connell.
Even Dennis is laughing at that. Kathleen does so well Tapeta routing. Now, we got to be honest. We've said this because the fan club for her starts behind Ron and I. The barn has struggled to get to the winner's circle.
Yeah, so, but boy, this horse ran really nicely up at Saratoga on the grass up there. So race number 8 this afternoon. This one is the Tropical Park Derby. And, this one, mile and a 16th now, about distance on the Tapeta. It's a shame. It was a really, really good race. So far, scratched the 11-13. Please note the number 14 is going to get in and is going to be ridden today by Edgar Prado. Grant Sonata in this race, I thought had a big shot this afternoon. She's perfect 2 for 2 in stakes at Gulfstream Park, but that's on the turf. Includes a victory in the Grade 3 Kitten's Joy last February. Returned. She rallied to finish a willing third in the Gio Ponte. I thought she'd sit the trip. It's Todd Pletcher. You're getting Javier Castellano in the saddle today. Lots to like for me. I wish this race was on the turf.
Yeah, and it's important to note now, the morning line is going to be so far out of whack here because obviously the line was for turf. And some of the Tapeta runners that we think are going to stay in didn't have the turf form. That's why a Grand David was 15. That's why a Night Jumper was 15. Conversely, now these horses are going to get bet. We don't know who's sticking. We don't know who's coming out. It'll be interesting to see, and Pete's going to tell you in a minute, hopefully, or we'll throughout the day at least. But a Grand David and a Night Jumper now, Ronnie, they become major players in this race. I think certainly Grand Sonata is one of them. I had Axthelm on turf. We got to see how it all shakes out, but I'm pretty confident thinking the 9 and 10 are going to stick.
Yeah, Axthelm, boy, he hasn't run a bad race, and you could see he started his campaign on the Tapeta sprinting, and he just ran very well in every one of his races. It's Safi Joseph Jr., and, I was torn. I was going to make this horse, talking about the turf, I was going second, third, which I make him second, third. I always had Grand Sonata on top, and I can see this horse winning, without a doubt.
No, there's no doubt about it. And don't forget, on debut, 5 furlongs on the Tapeta, so he's a better horse. I don't necessarily know if it's because of the turf or because he got an extra turn to work with and some experience. So I would think Axelm's a big, big player in here.
And the number 8 steady on is another from Todd Pletcher. Debuts Loki, shook off some trouble, finished second. Actually finished second in front of his stablemate last time out, so Ortiz Jr. is going to ride.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player as well. It's just got to see, and he's got a nice running style if he does stick around. You want to be close. You don't want to be too close routing on the Tapeta.
Let's go to race number 9 this afternoon. This one's going to be 7 furlongs, claiming fillies 3 or 4 and up, non-winners of 3 in life, or a race since June 26. We had a couple of scratches of the 2 and 3. I scratched into, I think I always had Peachy Weechy on top. A multiple winner at this tricky 7 furlong distance, returns locally for Claudio Gonzalez after rallying to finish second again against those 40 claimers going a 2-turn mile up at Laurel. Go to jock Jose Morelos in the saddle. Lots to like with this horse.
Yeah, Claudio Gonzalez and Jose, you put them together at about 25%. They've done such good things. Claudio's now coming up on about a year where he's really been on an extended run. This horse makes a lot of sense.
You did go with the number 7 horse in here, and that's Awesome Indra, who's making her local return today.
Yeah, this is just a huge class drop. Safi brings this horse up to Kentucky, and she's running in starter 20s and 10s, and now she's in for 35 here. She's drawn perfectly. I think she's going to be really problematic for this kind of group.
One of the races when I'm handicapping, I've been keying off, is that Vow race, the one for won a couple of races in Cayuco. Tries these condition claimers, finished third behind that repeat winner against in the state bred optional claimer, going the 7 furlong distance. Just seems that the horses that come out of the race, it hasn't been like 12 winners. They all seem to run okay coming out of that race.
Yeah, Avow's a really, really nice Florida bred for Team Pletcher, and Poema on her day is so fast and so good too. So Cayuco definitely comes out of the right races.
Race number 10 this afternoon was originally scheduled for the turf, now to be run at about 1.70 on the Tapeta. Non-winners of 2 in life, 20 down to $16,000. Let's start with your number 6 horse in here, and that is Backchat.
Yeah, I think Backchat is the one now that we're on the Tapeta, has been facing better on the Tapeta, has run well over the surface too, and I think the move now in a much better post. I know she was on the turf last time. You're marooned out there in the 10 hole. She still ran very, very well. I think it's a good spot for her.
I'm going to show you a race of board certified back on November 6th up at Laurel. It's a turf race, but I just want to show you what this horse had to deal with. You're going to see going into the 3/8 pole and just gets, sawed off in this race. You're going to see it just coming up momentarily. I just thought something that we should continue to show and just didn't have any. Look, you could see right there, almost got knocked off stride. Will actually did. And then this horse rallied nicely from far back after that to finish third. And you'll see the number 2. Wait a while. You'll see it. And here it comes right now, flying in the stretch after getting steadied sharply. So can this horse translate it to the Tapeta, a track that his favorite horses like to stalk and close? We'll see.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the replay shows it right there as well. So, again, this race, we at least got to it early. We knew it was coming off the turf. So.
Yeah. So let's go and check out our lightning round before we turn it over to Pete Aiello. We're going to go back and visit the great stakes we had on Christmas Eve. And Miss J. McKay does it again in the Abadanche, the defending champ. So we just pick up that stretch run in there.
Well, she does it again, and she does it the hard way, too, because nobody's making up an inch of ground sprinting on this turf course, and she does it with aplomb here. And, boy, they've done such a good job with her. She even had to check a little bit there or steady. And, boy, she is so good. She's so cool. And, these horses stick around, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, she just was so impressive in that race. You're right. Now, a really good horse was in the 7th race on what was that? What would that be? Saturday? Friday. No, Saturday. Hello, how are you? It was so impressive in this race. Just split horses in the stretch, and this one you got to mark down.
Yeah, when I said, Jose's got the sport coat on today, I said to him, you look like a guy that wants to get your picture taken. All kidding aside, we've talked about this now for probably 6 or 8 months. D'Angelo is getting better horses, got a lot of nice 2-year-olds. I think this was his 6th 2-year-old dirt win sprinting at Gulfstream Park this year. The barn now is kind of changing gears a little bit. You better look out because he's got some really, really nice young horses.
And we want to go back. This was a fun day for me. At least I had this one hard-knocking 8-year-old Belgrano. Just flying at the end. What a ride by Paco Lopez to get this horse up. Didn't look like he was going to win until he got right by the wire.
You picked Belgrano?
Yeah.
Huh.
I had fun at that. I mean,
Huh.
Frank Russo is such a great guy. I had so much fun with him in the winner's circle. And you're going to see what a game performance by this old boy to get up. But he got that perfect setup. Lots of speed in the race.
Lots of speed, but you got to run it all down. And like we said with Miss J. McKay, it hasn't been happening. So, but he is a cool horse. Frank's done a good job with him.
Yeah, he really has. And he's a fun guy. And then, of course, we wanted to remind you once again that, you know, this is a really good cause, and it's a lot of fun. You can go up, watch Pete call a race, you know, for the thoroughbred, the aftercare people, and it's great. I think it's $50. You can bring up to 6 people to watch the race, and it's just a fun thing. And Pete is, not only is a great race caller, he's a great host up there when he does it.
Yeah, just go up and hang out with him for $50. You'll get worth the price
Right.
of admission
Yeah,
there.
that's right. It's probably $75 just to hang out with him. I would go give him $100. So yeah, a lot of good stuff. And best bet and long shots, boy, these are work in progress today. What's your best bet? So you actually did okay with yours.
I stick around here. Starship Nugget as the best bet, and that's in race 3. Race 2, Del Griffith at a price for me in there.
That's the mine. Like I said, lost them both, in the stakes today. So that is it. For us early on. When we come back, we'll update our tickets. We'll turn it over to Pete Aiello, and it's going to be a great day. Of course, we'll be joined by Samantha in a little bit and Claudia Spadaro.
Yeah, sure.
So we got a full stack of people here ready for opening day.
Yeah, happy to have you aboard. Best of luck. Stay warm, and let's have at it.
Okay.
We're ready for the start. They're off.